going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right?
Very.
So much success that you have more than one place to be.
Fly break, touchdown, Oregon.
Off a dribble, launches, and hits the three. Oregon leads.
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three. Oh, three in a row.
Oregon is headed to the Super Regional. Big Ten champions, your Oregon Ducks.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It occurs to me that when we made the decision to use a couple quotes from Rob Mullens that in our broadcast open for Duck Insider, that he probably said those things around this time last year where there were multiple things going on, that it's a good problem to have in the postseason. You have to figure out where you're going to go, and thus is the life of an athletic director with broad-based excellence, right?
100%. I caught a little matinee lacrosse today. It was awesome.
I love it.
For those of you that are watching, Anna Simmons is having a day. That shot at the end of the third quarter was buzzer beater, underhand,
awesome.
Defended. It was sweet.
Yeah, the 11 o'clock start for lacrosse, with travel and all the logistics and everything, and that's awesome on a Tuesday.
It is a nice little way to get a lunch break on a Tuesday.
I like it. The long lunch, early lunch, a long lunch, hopefully for the AD.
All the above, yeah. No, it's fun. It's beautiful out there at Pape today.
Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens with us. It is Athletic Director Tuesday. We'll talk with Coach Lombardi. Oregon softball's off to a 5-0 start. They scored a school record amount of runs, by the way, in 5 games. And then a quick note. When the first pitch is thrown against Arizona State, Rob, on Thursday, it will also be a school record for runs scored in a 6-game span.
Well, let's pile them on and make it a one that's tough to beat.
Yeah. So Oregon softball off to a great start. Oregon lacrosse will keep you updated. Looks like the Ducks are going to close it out at 17-7 over Stetson at Pape Field if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour. And then Oregon men's basketball. It's game day today. We'll talk with Coach Altman coming up, and a whole lot coming up tonight because the football team will be recognized tonight during the Oregon men's basketball game for those of you in attendance at Matthew Henry. Maybe let's start there, Rob. I mean, signing day now has come and gone, and season tickets are a big deal heading into 2025. It's always a little bit of football season.
It is, a great signing class, doing great in the portal again. So, just you kind of roll right out of the 2024 season and into the 2025 season. It happens fast. Our season ticket renewal deadline was January 31st. We're, I believe, last number I saw, 92% renewal, which is a great renewal because, we had an incredible number last year, lots of new season tickets in the first year of the Big Ten. And I think fans realized the value when they began to see the secondary market prices of single games. And we've done so well on season tickets, it's likely to limit many plans as well. So, we'll go into the select a seat process now, and season tickets will have a chance to expand their quantity. And then we'll have a few seats available for season tickets, and we expect them to go fast.
I mean, there was such an anticipation, right, with first year in the Big Ten and great games on the schedule, and now with the season that the Ducks are coming off of, I got to think you don't expect it to slow down anytime soon.
No, we don't. Again, and as we mentioned, our Big Ten opponents tend to sell their full allotment.
Right.
The student section was as enthusiastic and in demand as ever. So, that season ticket's critical. And then, I think if you were to go back and look at any of the secondary ticket market price,
it was wild.
Market prices from last year, you'd see what a great value the season ticket is. And that's our goal, is to create that kind of value.
The financial analysis would tell you that getting in on season tickets is a good thing.
It is a good thing. And, and we really appreciate it too, because as we've talked about, those season tickets and donations are the lifeblood of our program. All the other revenue, the multimedia rights, the TV is important to us. but that season ticket base and those donations are critical.
Well, calling a spade, the home advantage is a big deal, right? And so having that dedicated fan base that's there all the time makes a difference in wins and losses.
100%. You know, we've heard from our new friends in the Big Ten how hard of a place this is to play. And we've just experienced that in basketball on the road, both men's and women's making that trip to East Lansing and Ann Arbor and played in some really, really difficult environments.
You were on that trip. The AD hit the road.
I did hit the road, with my parka and all. So blame the AD.
Yeah, well, I tried to tell Rob. He sat up for a little bit on the broadcast, and you brought when you were up there, the Ducks played pretty well.
Yeah, those games are a place where the home court advantage provided the energy for both Michigan and Michigan State. Michigan, when we were making our run in the second half, and Michigan State, you know, that's one of the better atmospheres in all of college basketball. Great student engagement, but that they provided the energy.
Yeah.
You know, we had an incredible first half. And you know, the start of that second half, the crowd made a difference.
And you know, I said this on the post game show. Like, feels like the Ducks have just caught a couple teams at the wrong time here, right? Like teams that are on an upward swing, and then Tom Izzo, that's a heck of an accomplishment. Most Big Ten wins in the history of men's basketball as a head coach, and he got that with that second half comeback.
Yeah, I know. I mean, obviously, this is an amazing league. It's so deep, both on the men's and the women's. And to have the sustained excellence that Coach Izzo has had is impressive.
Yeah, and talking about now for the Ducks at Northwestern tonight, 8 o'clock tip-off, big-time matchup. I mean, you know, you think about the ebbs and the flows of a season. You and I talked a little bit about this on the broadcast, Rob. Like, the Ducks are unfortunately in an ebb. Now here comes the flow you hope. And I just got to think, once you get off the snide of a tough skid, suddenly it could change on a heartbeat.
Yeah, and that was a tough stretch, right? We knew when the schedule came out that stretch was going to be a difficult stretch, and now we get a chance to have a couple of games at home, get our feet back under us, and continue to build that resume. Because when you look at the strength of our schedule, the strength of our record, whatever basketball metric you want to use, quad one wins. Right. We have an impressive resume, and like he typically does, Dana built a really tough non-conference schedule that we performed well in. So, as you said, we just got to turn the corner, flip the switch, and then I think we'll get right back on the run.
We are officially into resume, tourney, watch, bubble, whatever analysis
First
you want.
First in, last four out, bracketology. You got it. It's going every day.
And the new edition of the quad descriptor, right, of to evaluate your schedule. I mean, I know as basketball fans, right, you and I are both looking at these things and, okay, well, about this? That is kind of what makes it fun.
It does. I mean, it does give it a lot of attention. So, credit to Joe Lunardi for creating bracketology. It used to start in March, and now it starts in late January. But it is good for the sport, right? Because everybody's looking, okay, what are the projections have us seated? Who do they have us playing against? Where do they have us traveling? So it is good for the sport.
It makes it intriguing, right, as you start to think, too, about the quality of a schedule. And, to that point, like, the non-conference schedule is really holding true, not just for Oregon, but really for the whole Big Ten. And in the era, I would say, Rob, of the large conference, makes it harder and harder with conference games. That non-conference schedule really matters, I think.
It does really matter. And, obviously, and when you play some of them on the road or on neutral courts, I mean, we have some really impressive neutral court wins that I think when that committee gets in the committee room at the end and has to make some decisions on who's in, who's out, and the seating, that are going to reflect very well on the Ducks.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see with the men and the women. I'm just fascinated to see how all of this shakes out. Now, women's basketball, Rob, talk a little bit about that team. I mean, talk about a tough stretch, too. That's what this league will do. This
league will do that when you look at, the number one team in the country, and then you go on the road, ranked opponents, and it's deep. And back to the bracketology, I think, on the men's side they have 10, 11 in. On the women's side, 12. Yep. And so, I mean, you're essentially playing an NCAA tournament team just about every week, once, maybe twice.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like, you've been on these committees. You have the perspective of this more than most people in the world, and That's a tough thing when you start having these the conference records, I should say, that are what they are.
It really is. I mean, the committee has a tough task, and again, the data is one piece of it that they'll lean on. But I think whoever's assigned to the Big Ten will have watched a lot of our games, and they'll know the depth of our team, the types of wins that we have. And listen, those last 10 are important too, so you need to finish strong.
No doubt. I mean, you talk about the resume isn't complete until it's complete. Right. I mean, we'll be talking about this for about another month. We're about a month away from the conference tournaments for the women first and then the men coming up. But with the basketball seasons, this is really, though, where it starts to have so much ramp up in the spring and the winter, and I say kind of tongue-in-cheek, you probably did say that. I think.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, just look at this weekend. I mean, lacrosse today, and then you look at what we have this weekend. Baseball's going to open at PK Park. Basketballs, we just have, it's that time of year. Acro is going to be in action. So, there's always something to do.
That's right. Well, we're going to get timeout, come back, talk about a lot of those sports coming up, and then also a new head coach to talk about since you've been on the program. So we're going to do that when we come back. Rob Mullens is here with us. It's Duck Insider. We're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys! I love this song! I love these nachos. I love our kickball league! Ugh! I love this guy! What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
It's Athletic Director Tuesday on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens here with us. It's basketball game day, 8 o'clock tonight. Lacrosse won. It went final. The Ducks are 2-0 under Jess Drummond. That's pretty exciting to see them right now.
Oh, very exciting. I was able to be out there. Jess does a phenomenal job. And the Defend Pape mantra, the energy that they came out with. I think we scored first face-off in a matter of seconds. But that's a great coaching staff, Jess, CC, and Theo. Not only great players, but great coaches.
Yeah, the two assistant coaches that were playing for national teams just a couple months ago.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Pretty
so
amazing.
I would encourage everybody to get out and see them. They're just a very energetic, fun group. And it's Jess likes to play with pace.
Yeah.
So it's entertaining.
And you talk too historically in the Big Ten, great lacrosse conference.
Great lacrosse. No, and you go watch somebody like Anna had 6 goals I think today. Maybe she had 6 before I came in here. and just some incredible moves and teammates setting her up. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, one of the first spring sports to get rolling. Now, since we last talked, though, a fall sport that's got a new head coach in Trent Kirsten.
Yeah, excited to welcome Trent and his family on board. Obviously incredible resume, played at UCLA, assistant in connections in California and in Texas. Knows absolutely how to build a winner. He's done it at multiple places. He has this really unique blend of building the right culture, student-athlete experience, with really leaning into technology. So it was fun to have him on campus. We knew right away that he was our guy. Obviously his background, but has a big physical presence too. He looks like a volleyball player.
I was about to say, he looks like some basketball and volleyball athletes do. He is all of 6'10".
He is all of 6'10", and just very thoughtful person, and excited to get him and the staff up here and get rolling.
Well, a little bit of inside the show. I've had a couple people ask me, Rob, he has been so focused on building a staff, doing the whole thing, right? We will get him in the Country Financial studio when he's in town, I promise. It's on the agenda here moving forward. Softball season, mentioned underway. They've gotten off to a hot start offensively.
They have. Fun to watch, excited, lots of energy. They've got a great blend. We saw 2 freshmen come in and get off to great starts, but they've got a great blend of experience. Missy's done a great job of balancing that roster with experience to help these newcomers step right in. And, a couple of them had starting opportunities, and they took full advantage of it.
Yeah. It's interesting. Talking with Coach Lombardi coming up next segment, one of the things that struck me over the weekend, and especially with 2 freshmen that combined for 4 home runs for Oregon softball, this is really maybe the last year or the first year of the rosters aren't quite as old around college athletics.
Yeah.
We're kind of on the tail end of that.
No, we are, and I think we're going to continue to see that, right? But it's we get through COVID, and the portal will still play a role. But excited for their start. It was fun to be able to see Paige and the Luchar sisters get to go play back home. That's always a neat opportunity for a coach to take student athletes near the end of their careers back to their hometown and play.
2 of them hit grand slams over the weekend, by the way, which
must be in the water.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good thing when you get the homecoming and you get to hit the grand slam. Too, talking about a lot of different sports that are getting going. It strikes me, too, for both baseball and softball. I know both coaches prioritize playing more at home this time of year. How about Oregon softball coming up on 2 back-to-back weekends at the Jane? Yeah. That's pretty special this time of year.
Very special this time of year. So, obviously we talked about it earlier, those opportunities to sleep in your own bed, play at home, and have your home crowd impact the game is important.
We have a lot of outdoor track and field events coming up at Hayward this year, but in the meantime, the indoor season has been off to a pretty darn good start for both teams.
Great start, and for those that aren't paying attention, Wilma is tearing it up.
Athlete of the week nationally this week.
2 times
Impressive. 2 times
her second time. Yeah. So, she just steps on the track and, cranks out another,
top 5,
top 4,
all-time.
top 5. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And, track is an interesting thing, particularly indoor track, because you're chasing times, right? And so we've got athletes this weekend, I think, going to 3 different sites, depending on which event group you're in, to try to chase a qualifying mark to get into the indoor NCAA championships.
It's a challenge. I've talked to athletes about this, especially longer distances, right? And you're kind of racing against yourself, and you're racing against air at times, depending on who's in the field with you.
That's exactly right. You're chasing a time, and so you're going where the competition is best, so that it gets the best out of you. But it's probably not the most efficient system. I know Jerry and I have talked about this. This has long been a debate around collegiate track, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's funny, there's so much change in sports. Then there's some things that have been debates for a long time and haven't changed. This is why talk radio exists, right?
Yeah. No, and obviously with the such a knowledgeable fan base here, they fully understand what Borough brings. But I think we got a group going to, I believe, Texas, a group going to Boston, and maybe New Mexico.
Albuquerque, yep.
Yeah. This weekend, all just different event groups trying to find those qualifying marks.
I just want to say, coaches are like this too, but to Zach Lawson, the sports information director on GoDucks.com, who will give you the capsule of everything that happened in 3 different events on GoDucks.com over the weekend. Zach, thank you, buddy. We appreciate that.
Does Zach just go in a cave with monitors everywhere and watch it? I mean, because he can't be in 3 cities.
No, but I'm telling you, just the tracking of all of it is legitimately it's a challenge for me. I imagine for a lot of our fans too. So shout out to Zach.
And Zach can even go a level deeper and give you the form chart. So he can give you the projections for who is into the field.
Yeah, where should they be? Oh, yeah, chasing a time constantly, right? Both the golf teams. Actually, history made by both golf teams in terms of low rounds in program history over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, and what the women were able to do in the last round was just amazing. I think they shot whatever it was, 10 under.
10 under.
And the next closest team that day was 1 under.
I was going to say par. But
Par,
maybe
it was par. Yeah. So just an incredible finish, and then the men did the same thing.
Yeah, and I'm always amazed with both of those head coaches, right? With the international flavor of their roster, but then also to play here, and they both embrace. They like that you play in some wet conditions because it prepares you when you have to play in that condition down the stretch.
Right. I had a pretty neat experience at a women's basketball game. So we have 2 freshman women's golfers. Who are international student athletes who are absolutely taking in the full collegiate experience.
Sure.
And they have become huge Oregon women's basketball fans.
Great.
And to see them get energized around it, I got to hang out with them for, the end of a game and just see the enthusiasm. And I shared it with Derek, Coach Radley, of that's what the college experience is about. 2 young women from a different country who haven't experienced college basketball to be all into it is pretty cool.
It's a unique part of our country, right? There's no doubt that the collegiate model doesn't exist really outside of this, at least as we know it, with the fan base. And it's a good reminder.
It really is a good reminder that, and I just love to see, because these student athletes dedicate a lot of their life to preparing for their sport. They have a lot of academic requirements, so there isn't a lot of free time. To see those 2 young women at a women's basketball game just soaking in the collegiate experience as students was pretty cool.
That's cool. And you talk about the collegiate experience at the Student Tennis Center. I will continue to hammer this because Coach Sheelander always wants it to be a raucous environment at the Student Tennis Center. He's told me, I think I've said this to you before, Rob, he's like, I want tailgaters at the tennis matches. And
that doesn't surprise me.
And that's a cool thing with collegiate tennis because it is a team sport.
It is, and it's same with golf, right? So it's unique. And probably the last time these athletes will play as a part of a team. So I think they really, really enjoy that. Yeah. And you talk about, whether it's Courtney or Nils or Derek or Casey, they really embrace that team atmosphere.
Yeah, it makes it fun. As a fan, it makes it fun. But both men's and women's tennis teams have gotten off to a good start as well. Starting to get on the road a little bit more here too.
Yeah, and again, all of our coaches in all 4 of those sports. Again, are willing to challenge their teams, and we play difficult schedules.
Lastly, 2 that are opening up this weekend. Let's start with acrobatics and tumbling. 4 o'clock on Saturday, a sport that just continues to grow and get bigger and bigger, and that's what it's all about.
It is, and University of Oregon is one of the founders. Taylor does a phenomenal job. Obviously, she had a very decorated career here as a student athlete.
Jersey's behind you.
There you go. And does a phenomenal job leading our program. I would encourage anyone who hasn't seen it. It is super high energy. You may not understand the scoring, but they do a good job of explaining it in between events on the video board. But the energy, the athleticism of the sport and of our student athletes is pretty spectacular.
Yeah. Saturday at 4 o'clock at Matthew Knight Arena, things start for Oregon acrobatics and tumbling. Baseball on Valentine's Day, a 3 o'clock start for Oregon baseball. Valentine's Day happy hour at the ballpark. You got plenty of time for the dinner reservation afterwards on Friday. Not that I've thought about this already.
Hot dog and nachos. What are you talking about?
That's happy hour food, Rob. Happy hour food. You're right. Hot dog, nachos, whatever else you have at PK Park.
You might have to have a hot chocolate on Friday, but I know our group will have it ready for you.
They will. Duck baseball, though, I talked about this with softball a bit, right? Like a lot of home games for Oregon baseball the first few weeks of the season, and that was intentional for Mark Wasikowski. He wants to play in front of the home fans.
He does. Great squad. A lot of experience coming back. I know everybody's excited to see, the St. Mary's transfer. Waz's, touch 99.
Yeah,
and
I know.
There's a lot of excitement there. Obviously, Grayson, preseason Big Ten Pitcher of the Year. So plenty of preseason accolades for Oregon baseball. It'll be fun to see him hit the field.
Pretty much the whole offense is back, except a guy that got drafted by the Astros and is, going to play football here again. But he was pretty good. Don't get me wrong. But pretty much the whole offense is back. And some guys that dealt with injury last year that are now healthier. I mean, I'm telling you, the preseason offense, and I know the postseason offense is what matters, but the preseason offense is explosive for Oregon baseball. And a couple new faces you alluded to in the pitching staff that, if you can't tell, the broadcaster's excited to be at PK Park again at 3
Yeah,
o'clock.
I'm excited too. It's, college baseball's always fun. And, yeah, it'll be fun to get out there and get after it. I know they're ready.
Yeah, they definitely. It's a time of year where we cover a lot. Anything we missed, Rob? Anything else fans should know?
Woo! I think we covered a lot. So, yeah, get out to one of our home venues. Love seeing the fans out there. Our student athletes really, really do appreciate it. And, yeah, let's have some fun this weekend.
Looking forward to it. 8 o'clock tonight, the next matchup for the Ducks in any sport against Northwestern for men's basketball. Rob, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll get a break. When we come back, reviewing a record-setting weekend to open up the season for Oregon softball. Coach Lombardi with us after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/24.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/24.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
My son, Ricky, took his life by the use of a firearm. It broke me, and I contemplated suicide. My grandson, I was gonna have to be here for him. I still own my firearm. I keep it in a safe because I want to keep my grandson and myself safe.
Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember. Back to the land of my first love.
OnPoint Community Credit Union, Joey Mack, and Coach Lombardi on a Tuesday in the Country Financial Studio. It's softball season. Coach Lombardi going to join us every Tuesday. Coach, 5-0 to start the season. We've got a lot to unpack, but just how nice was it to play softball against somebody else again?
To play softball against somebody else was awesome.
It's the best. I mean, and we talk about like there's this anticipation, there's this build-up, but there's probably always some nerves on opening day, right?
Yeah, there were some nerves, which should be. You should always have some nerves, and then just, you know, they'll go away. But no, I think that's a good thing.
Nerves went away. The Ducks went 5-0 at the UNLV Desert Classic. A program record 73 runs over a 5-game period. If I told you were going to set a program record for runs over a 5-game period last week, what would you have told me?
I'd say that sounds great.
What'd you see from your offense?
Just explosive. We always talk about passing the bat. I think they did a great job of passing the bat. Our top of the order, their job is to get on base. Kai is to get on base and just cause havoc. And Keda behind her did a great job. And then from there, just to see the middle of our lineup with Dez and with Steph and Emma, Paige, Kedri. I mean, just that whole middle drive runs in and then get back to the bottom again. And Ayana get things started again.
You got some depth on display that we saw too. I mean, opening weekend, you have to like that as a coaching staff.
I do. It's important. We need everybody. You know, every game we are going to find a different way to win, and we're going to have to do it with different people.
Yeah. So talking about some of those people, I want to unpack a couple statistics for you. So, Ducks are currently leading the nation in runs per game after opening weekend, batting average, and stolen bases. I wanted to ask you about the stolen bases. I mean, You and I have talked before about how defense is so valuable, but also the ability to steal and to put pressure and score in multiple ways. This team can do that, it seems like.
Yes, definitely we can. You think about defense, it wins championships, but then to have the ability to score in multiple ways, and I just think about speed kills.
Yeah.
And when you have that speed, especially with softball, our dimensions are so much smaller. You have those quick athletes that are at the top of the lineup. The defense can feel it. Just pitch by pitch, they can feel it. They're trying to make sure they're in position. They're trying to field the ball, throw the ball, and sometimes they just make mistakes just trying to hurry up.
Yeah.
And then, I think about Kai and a lot of these guys in our team, they hit a single, but they can quickly turn it into a double with a stolen base.
Yeah.
So now we have a runner in scoring position and, our big guys to come in and drive them in.
9 stolen bases for Kai Lushar, leading the NCAA so far through one weekend. So there's one thing to just have the natural ability, right, and the natural athleticism to steal. But what about the burst, the off-season work, what it takes? I mean, we're seeing that, I feel like, with this team. How can you speak to that a little bit? Just what it takes to have that burst that a lot of your athletes have.
Yeah, I just credit Coach KJ. She's excellent at what she does with our team. Our team really understands that it all starts in the weight room and with their conditioning and what they do over summer on their own to be in tip-top shape when they come back in the fall. And then from there, as they continue through the fall, and then even right now, it's important. You play so many games that if you don't lift and if you don't run, you start to lose that. So it's something that's on the top of their list weekly.
Talking softball with Coach Lombardi after a 5-0 start to the season and then a new week here. We're in the what I call weekend rotation for you all, where it's just like 5 games, 6 games.
Yeah.
The schedule comes fast and furious in the month of February for you.
It does. It does. And that's why I really appreciate how strong these guys are academically and how serious they take their academics, because if they want to be great on the weekend, they have to have their business taken care of during the week, during school, and they all do a phenomenal job of that.
The transition to college, I mean, for any freshman, it was hard for me, it's hard for everybody, but you saw some standout performances from some new faces. So I wanted to ask you about that. Emma Cox, Big Ten Freshman of the Week, hit 500 with a couple of home runs, 6 RBI.
Yeah.
Emma, great start to her career, huh?
Yes, great start. She had some nerves coming in.
Did she?
Of course. But she's worked really, really hard in this month of January, just preparing for what's next. And it was great to watch her just perform, and just compete. I think that's it. When it's all said and done, all the work that we do off the field, it's great. It's the preparation that we need. But then when you get on the field, you just got to flat out compete. Like shelf your mechanics, shelf everything, and just get after it. Let your instincts take over. And you could really see her just be a competitor on the behind the plate, at the plate.
I was going to ask you about the behind the plate aspect. I mean, it's one thing to have that freshman of the week honor for just an offensive player, but managing a pitching staff, doing all the things that it takes. Where's she grown maybe just in the little time that you've worked with her in that category?
She's what? First off, she's a coach's kid. And I think being a coach's kid goes a long way.
Sure.
I really do. And so she's just grown up in that environment her whole life. But she just takes pride in the little details. Our entire team takes pride in the small details. And they work really, really well together in helping each other to get to where we need to go. So our pitching staff is older, and I think they've really embraced her, and our other catchers. All of our catchers are, young. Abby Mulvey's the oldest, but the others are young. And so I think our pitching staff has done a great job of embracing them and helping them, like kind of guiding them along the way.
How about to the pitching staff? What'd you see?
I love the movement. I love the velo. I love the change of speed. We need to limit our walks. We walked too many this weekend, and but I just thought as the weekend went on, we got better and better. This is a really, really good pitching staff. Very versatile. The looks are so different, and they love each other. You can see that too. They're whoever starts and the other has to come in. They're there to take care of business for that one.
Yeah, that's got to be like one of the hardest things as a diamond sport coach, right? Is when you have to go get the ball, as they say, right? But that handoff, that's a big deal, isn't it? I mean, it is a huge mental thing to go through.
It is the handoff is great because if you watch these guys, they hand the ball off, and the first thing they do after they hand the ball off is they hug each other. And to me, the hug is "I got you," is the one coming off saying "I trust you," and the one coming on saying "I got you."
Yeah, it makes so much sense to me. Like there is that teammate interaction, right? As you go through it. All right, Lindsey Grind. I mean, first time in an Oregon uniform, 3 wins, a save, decent weekend.
Yes, very nice.
Good. That's what we like to see. All right, now heading into the final conversation point, I should say. 3 games at Arizona State, 3 games at Grand Canyon University. The way the schedule falls, Coach, you're maximizing that trip out to the state of Arizona.
Yes, we are. We are. You have the opportunity to play 56 games in a season, and usually we have one weekend. We always tap in one additional game. You know, in our non-conference, we usually play 5 in a weekend, and then we always have one weekend where we'll tap one more in, and this is the one.
This is the one. Just a quick scouting report. What to expect from your opponents coming up?
Arizona State's very good, always explosive.
Familiar face.
Yeah, which is nice. I think that's what's nice is that we know they're very good, but we also are familiar with them. Same thing, we played GCU last year. Excellent. They're coached extremely well. You know, there's so much parity in softball. Back in the day, you could go into tournaments or into weekends and kind of be all right and walk out with your wins, and that's not the case. Like, you better be prepared and do your homework and your video and have your team ready to go every game.
Yeah, it's amazing to think about just the depth of how much I think the sport has grown. I mean, I feel like last year I asked you this about like the non-conference, and there's just so much more depth around the sport. I know we're only through one weekend, a little bit of an unfair question. Feels like there's even more depth across the sport now. I mean, from year to year, it's only getting deeper.
I think so. I think so. I think, you know, kind of back in the day, your warmer states or maybe your better teams, and weather doesn't matter. Everybody is really, really good. Everybody's got great pitching, great defense, big hitters. It's just, that's what makes the game so awesome.
Oh, and shoot, you think about even just like facilities. Even here, the Jane, indoor facilities that probably have changed the sport in a lot of ways. I think that makes a lot of sense. All right, one weekend in the books. What do you want to see this weekend? What's the next step for this team?
We've just been talking a lot about starting fast and staying fast. And I would say for this group, it's just continuing to just stay right in our process. And that's it. It's kind of boring, but just to stay in our process and understand who we are.
Isn't it? I mean, okay. Every coach says that you have to stay in the process, but there's a reason that coaches say things like that, right? Like, you're going to play 56 games. There's ebbs and flows. I don't know. I know that everyone could get a little tired of the coach speak, but I'm just telling you there's a reason for that sort of messaging, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I get it. Coach Lombardi with us. Coach, hey, safe travels.
Thank you.
I hope you come back a little tanner. The whole team gets a chance for that. Good. Like it. Coach Lombardi joining us. When we come back, it's men's basketball game day, getting ready for Oregon and Northwestern, 8 o'clock tonight on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by your local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This message is for Shauna, my mom, who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You taught me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle.
Or forget extra diapers.
You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never, ever become a minivan mom.
So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now. So good to see you.
It's Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here in the Country Financial Studio. Thanks again to Coach Lombardi for joining us. That was a fun weekend for Oregon softball, and now they've got another fun weekend coming up on Thursday. It begins against Arizona State at 5 o'clock. Meanwhile, it's game day for Oregon men's basketball. The Ducks against Northwestern at 8 o'clock tonight. I don't know if anything is a must-win in the regular season, but I just feel like the Ducks have got to get off the snide, find a way to get a win in the win column again after a team that got into the top 10 at one point this season. That's coming up tonight. And yesterday, before practice, Coach Altman met with the media, breaking it all down. It's brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. Ducks are at home tonight. Coach Altman breaking it down.
Kind of digest the trip a little bit. You want to see progress. You want to see improvement. It seemed like, in spurts at least, you saw that in both games, but obviously the results weren't what you want. You feel any much better or worse about where you were?
Well, I don't feel any worse. I feel better. I mean, with the exception of 8 minutes in the Michigan game and probably 14 in the Michigan State game, we did a lot of good things. You know, the first half of the Michigan State game, and we had 10 assists, a lot of points off, 21 points off turnovers. Our activity was great. We shot the ball good, but a lot of those were good shots. We made for each other, 10 assists. And a lot of them were on the 3 points shots. But, you know, our activity wasn't nearly as good. Our deflection numbers in the second half weren't nearly as good. They got a lot better looks, and we took some bad shots. We just got impatient and too much dribbling, not enough ball movement. So disappointed in that. But to answer your question, I thought we got better in both games. We just didn't do enough for long enough periods of time.
It feels like the last couple of weeks, games have kind of come in waves, very short time period to prepare for the next one. How have you guys handled that?
Not very well. We haven't been sharp. We haven't, jumped to the next game, and so we knew it was our tough stretch, 4 or 5 on the road, and we knew we had a lot of travel, so we just didn't get it done, and that's as blunt as I can be. We knew it was our tough stretch. When I got the schedule, saw 4 out of 5, and we got a tough turnaround here. We flew back, and now we got 2 days to get ready here. So, but you just got to fight through it, and you got to find a way, and we got to try to find a way tomorrow night.
Something on the defensive end, that over these all 5 games, even with slight improvement the past couple of games, that is there commonality or an issue that is bothering you most? Because like 3-point defense is an example where Michigan State can't shoot very well, but obviously in the second half did. Is there one aspect of it that's sticking with you that you're really harping on most?
Well, there's so many aspects of our defense that, our communication isn't good. You mentioned the second half, the 4 threes they hit. One was out of a double team where, our hands went down the double team and he fired a shot, across. We mess up a switch. They hit a 3. They hit one in transition, where we just don't talk and guy gets a wide open one on top. So, no, you give them 4 threes and they only hit 4 the second half, but all 4 of them were wide open. And so you're disappointed in that, but 12-0 second chance points, we didn't rebound the ball. There's not one aspect that's killing us. Goes from game to game, whether it be Garcia, getting his career high or whatever against us. The other night, guy gets on a roll, we don't slow him down. So defensively, our numbers have dropped and our activity have dropped. The first half, I thought Nate and Supreme and the guys did a great job of challenging some shots at the hole, which improved our numbers. We didn't do nearly as good the second half. Their points in the paint went way up. A lot of them were off, offensive rebound putbacks. So to answer your question, there's not one area that we're doing really well in, and it varies from game to game what's killing us.
Where do you go to as a coach to address some of the issues? Because it's not often in your time here that we've seen, this long of a stretch where you guys have been unable to get a win. Where do you go to look to try and solve the issues, especially going into Tuesday?
Well, you got to keep the energy up. Guys got to get excited about playing. We could sure use a boost from the fans. It's a situation where, anytime you lose, there's energy level drops a little bit. And so as coaches, we're trying to keep them fired up about playing. We had a spirited practice, so I thought that went well. But you got to bring it on game night. You got to bring it for 40 minutes. You see all the close games in the conference. Northwestern's last 2 games are illustration of that, a 2-point win over USC and then a close loss at Washington, that game that could have went either way. So they're a team that plays a lot of close games, and we're going to have to be ready to play and find a way to win.
There was a lot that was different the other day, first half, second half. KJ's production in particular was really striking, first half versus second half. Can he be an X factor for you? In particular, is it more just everybody on the roster just needs to do?
Oh, I think it's everybody. KJ had gone through a slump there where he hadn't played very well. He'd be the first one to admit it. Had a great first half, 7 rebounds. His activity was great. Second half, wasn't quite the same. Didn't get a rebound, and almost the same amount of time, both halves. So, again, it's just guys being able to focus and maintain. It's playing really hard. The time you're getting, just got to go make it happen. We got guys kind of coasting through some minutes. I've got to do a better job getting guys in and out, and hopefully guys will respond to that.
A decade ago, I know none of the players on this year's team were part of that team, but you went through a similar stretch where you started 9-0 or 13-0, I think, that year, and had 5 straight, and that team figured it out and fought through it. What were the things that team did that maybe can be a lesson for this team?
Well, they played really hard. We had a lot of vets on that team. Johnny Lloyd and Jason was on that. Khalees was on that team. We went through a really tough stretch there. We were 3-8 in the league and had to win 7 games in a row just to get her going again. But going back to that team, we started defending better. We won some of the close games that we lost. If you look in the 8 losses that we had there, a lot of them went right down the wire and we didn't get it done. So we're going to have to play better in all aspects of the game. And if we do that, the wins will come. And that's what I told them at the beginning of this stretch when we lost a couple games. Fellas, our problem is we haven't gotten any better here in the last few weeks. We haven't paid attention to detail. We haven't gotten any better. That's as much on me as it is on them. And we're focused now on trying to get better. And I thought we got better in the Michigan game. We had a good first half against Michigan State. We didn't obviously have a good second half. but we just got to keep grinding and hope something clicks.
How much of the, as you kind of try to balance the focus, I suppose, Dan, of the individual game, because that's the task at hand, obviously, with also the bigger picture of, with every one of these games, particularly two this week, this could determine who goes or doesn't go even to Indianapolis with who you're playing. How much does that have, is that at all part of the thought, part of the messaging of?
Well, I haven't brought that up. We got to get better. I think the guys got enough on their minds just trying to focus in on what we've got to do to get better. And I think they know the reality of where we're at. They can look at a situation and look where we're at. I don't think I need to pound it on them. I got to get them better. We got to get better. And so, we're focused on that. I think if we do get better, then the wins will come.
More?
You obviously got, ironically, 7 games left for the rest of this Big Ten schedule. Do you feel like you guys are going to need kind of a 7-game stretch of wins like you did, a dozen years ago to kind of get back on?
Oh, I don't know. Again, we're just talking about Northwestern and playing better in all aspects of the game. Can't worry about the next one or the one after that. Can't worry about tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And we got to try to play better than what we've been playing. And they have to do a better job focusing on scouting reports, taking away some of the strengths that the other team has. We've got to do a better job communicating on the floor. Our ball movement's got to be better. And obviously the rebounding in a couple of our losses has really hurt us. So we're going to have to do a better job on the boards.
What stands out about Northwestern and just the challenges that they'll present for anybody?
Well, they get what they want out of a possession. They've got some vets that move the ball pretty good. Barry's a really good shooter. So, we're going to have to take away their strengths. And it won't be easy because they play to them. And they're patient, and they'll play to them. And that's where we've lost some of our patience in possessions. But they're very patient. They work it till they get what they want. And so we're going to have some long possessions defensively and try to take away what they're trying to do with their strengths.
Coach Altman talking about the matchup tonight. 8 o'clock, we'll have a 7:30 pregame show with Luke Jackson and myself across the Oregon Sports Network. When we come back, Jackson Shellstad talking all things Oregon basketball as we continue on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
August was born 3 pounds, 9.8 ounces. When I first saw him, it was a whole range of emotions. There's stuff I still want to do. Being a young dad, it's not giving up. It's shifting. I looked through his eyes. I can envision the whole future with him already. To throw the first football to him, give him ice cream for the first time. My life is now devoted to his life.
Through all of fatherhood's firsts, never stop being a dad. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Wrapping up Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Jackson Shellstad met with the media yesterday as well, getting ready for men's basketball tonight, 8 o'clock against Northwestern. The outstanding guard for the Ducks. And there's no doubt that when he's made shots and he's been on, particularly early, the Ducks have been on. Jackson Shellstad meeting with the media for a couple minutes yesterday.
Maybe 60 out of 80 minutes you did. Obviously, the ones you didn't hurt you in the results column. But how are you guys processing the results last week?
I mean, yeah, like he said, I thought we played, a lot of good minutes of basketball on that trip. Obviously, didn't come out with the outcomes we wanted both games, but from the games before that, just I feel like we kind of took a step forward just by playing harder. Defensively, I think we got some things figured out. And we're just going to have to keep getting better from that. Obviously we didn't win those games, but we're going to have to carry that on throughout the rest of these conference games. And, I think we can finish out pretty good if we keep playing hard and playing together like that.
What are some of the things you feel like you did figure out defensively, Jackson, especially coming off of the second half at Michigan State like it was?
Second half at Michigan State was definitely not a very good defensive effort. That first half, though, we were flying around. We were playing with a lot of energy. We got a lot of deflections. And, we just didn't really carry that over to the second half for some reason. But, even in the Michigan game, I thought we played a lot harder on defense, got more deflections, playing together, just talking in our blue zone. And, I think we're just getting better at that overall.
Dana seemed to talk about just get better.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about seeding. Don't worry about the standings in the league. Have you guys kind of embraced that? I feel like you've kind of been able to block out the outside noise right now.
Yeah, I mean, every day in practice, we're trying to approach just get better. Obviously, been struggling the last couple of games, but we're just trying to get better and finish out the season strong. We all know we can do it. We just got to come together and play a full 40 minutes.
Playing a full 40 minutes is tough. You've seen that around the conference. I mean, I am still amazed at the amount of large margin of victories there have been across Big Ten basketball this year. Let's hope for one on the positive side tonight. Oregon men's basketball against Northwestern, 7:30 pregame with myself and Luke Jackson. We'll see you at Matthew Knight Arena tonight.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning sign?